This is Dante Williams, and you're watching
Dante's
Boxing Nation.
This is Showtime Sean Porter. Filipino Flash, Jesse Burns.
This is Al Bernstein. You're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Hi, I'm Sugar Ray.
Chick Shape.
Sergio the last name more.
Dante's Boxing Nation. Boom, 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 boom.
Yo, this is Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder.
My name is Gennady Golovkin.
And you're watching
Dante's Boxing Nation.
Hi, this is Julian Jackson, and this is Dante Boxing Nation.
This is Julia Jackson, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation. All right. Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So, following the terrific matchup this past weekend by Thurman versus Porter, which turned out to be the most watched fight of 2016 on PBC, of course, Keith Thurman aggressively calls out the other champion at the welterweight division, the WBC champion, Danny Swift Garcia. So Keith Thurman has been calling out this man like crazy. Now, Sean Porter and Keith Thurman both were calling out Danny Garcia before the fight. And matter of fact, to this day, the only response that we've gotten from Danny Garcia was before the fight. And his only response was, Sean Porter needs to focus on Keith Thurman. That's what he said. Now, after the fight, we haven't heard anything from Danny Garcia. That's not the best sign. So the question is, what does Danny Garcia think about fighting Keith Thurman next? Now, I remember after Errol Spence knocked out Chris Algieri, Danny Garcia was asked what he thought about Errol Spence, his performance, and Errol Spence calling him out. And Danny Garcia, he basically said that Errol Spence doesn't deserve to fight someone on his level yet, etc., etc., etc. Now, he said that about Errol Spence, but it's pretty difficult to say that about Keith Thurman, okay? Now, eventually he won't even be able to say that about Errol Spence, but you can almost use that excuse for now. But you can't use that excuse when it comes to the other champion in your division who just had the biggest win of his career. He wants the Adrian Broner fight. That's what I truly believe. But the thing is, there's talks that Adrian Broner right now is negotiating with Manny Pacquiao, and even Bob Arum confirmed that. So if Broner is going to fight Manny Pacquiao, Danny Garcia really has no other option other than unifying and fighting Keith Thurman. Now, don't get me wrong, of course they can always find him an opponent, but my point simply is, if he's not fighting Adrian Broner, there's no other fight that makes more sense than fighting Keith Thurman. I would prefer Thurman versus Danny Garcia so we can see a unification bout in the welterweight division. And once again, I don't know if I said it already before, but if you guys thought Thurman versus Porter was exciting, I'm telling you right now, Thurman versus Garcia would be a notch higher, because Thurman and Danny Garcia, something they have in common is they both throw those haymakers. They both throw those haymakers. It's not going to be a whole lot of punches getting smothered like it was in some points with the Porter versus Thurman fight. It's going to be a lot more clean shots landing in this fight. And someone would definitely get knocked out or knocked down in that fight. That's almost a given. So I would love to see that fight, Keith Thurman, and doesn't want to fight him. But I will say this. I remember when Lamont Peterson was aggressively calling out Danny Garcia, and for a while, Danny Garcia, he wouldn't even really react or respond to Lamont Peterson calling him out. So that left the impression to many that Danny Garcia did not want any parts of Lamont Peterson. Next thing you know, shortly after the Rod Salka fight, Danny Garcia was fighting Lamont Peterson on free TV. So anything is possible. I hope Danny Garcia steps up. Hopefully Danny Garcia wants to really be the best at the welterweight division. I know there's also talks of Danny Jacobs possibly being an opponent for Floyd Mayweather. And you obviously can't fault him if he's on the short Mayweather list. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. The bottom line is, if Danny Garcia is not fighting either Adrian Broner or Floyd Mayweather next, then it would seem like the logical next opponent would be Keith one-time Thurman. That's all I got for now. I'm on to the next one.
Hi, you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation. Woo!